Real Madrid dropped that Comunicado Oficial Bombazo. You know Florentino Perez has done a madness. But how many of Real Madrid's 40 most expensive signings ever were actually a success? Today we're going to go through all of them, starting from the 30 mil guys like Huntelaar and Schneider, all the way up to your Bellinghams and Hazards at the end, and see how many made it into the S tier and how many were complete failures. Like I said to you guys before, we're not just Premier League merchants here. We're going to be covering all leagues, all teams, so make sure you subscribed. We're on the road to that 100k plaque. Let's get straight into it. Wesley Sneijder. This one pretty easy for me. D for disappointing. We all know what Sneijder went on to become for club and country. Obviously, Inter, he won their treble. Netherlands, he was a key figure in 2010. But at Real Madrid, that whole era of Dutch players, it wasn't really banging. It didn't quite give us what we expected. And that is exactly why his good mate, Klaas-Jan Huntelaar, will be joining him in the D tier. D is for disappointing. For those who haven't seen the previous videos on United and Chelsea, S is like sensational. A will go for amazing signing. B is like, yeah, baller, like, you know, you done your thing. C's calm, like nothing too great, nothing, you know, terrible. D for disappointing. And F, I don't want to get demonetized, but I'm sure you can guess what F stands for. That being said, the next name on the list, Sergio Ramos. I don't think it requires many debates here. This is one of the most obvious S tiers you're going to get. The guy came as a 19-year-old right back from Sevilla back in 2005 and obviously went on to be captain, win however many Champions Leagues and however many clutch goals he'd score in big games. This one, we shouldn't even like waste time on him. Big up Sergio Ramos. Next up, we have Fabio Coentrao. I'm going to go in the D tier as well. Look, you know why it's tough for Real Madrid? Especially because, like, their spending has come in an era where they've obviously had a lot of success in the Champions League. So a lot of these players, they're going to see them in the bottom tiers, but they have Champions Leagues to their names or league titles to their names. But from what we expected of them, from what we thought from them, we're thinking, all right, this is the Marcelo successor, perhaps. And, yeah, it didn't bang. Next up, 2013-14. That elite Malaga era. Real Madrid signed the mate Isco Disco, 30 mil. I'm going to put him in the B tier. It's tough with him because he's had seasons where you're thinking, this guy might be one of the best 10s, you know, you've ever seen. But then other seasons, maybe he's just not quite as impactful. So that's why he can't really push above. Obviously, again, look, he's got the trophies and the accolades to his name. So try, I know it's difficult because it's Real Madrid, but try not to factor in the trophies too much because some of these players will have had very little impact on those trophies. But Isco, with all credit to him, he done his thing as well. I just felt like he didn't really ever make the team his own. And again, that's not really his fault, but like, you know, he's playing for the Galacticos, it is what it is. Another 30 million signing. Some of you might not even recognize who this brother is. This is Rainier. They got him from Flamengo. I could not tell you where that brother is right now. Gun to my head, ask me where Rainier is right now. I'm afraid we're never hitting 100k subs because the channel's no more. In 2007, Real Madrid slapped 30 M's on Pepe, the Portuguese Titan. Now, many of you are going to shout S for this one, and I definitely hear it, but I want to try and keep it like somewhat exclusive. So let's say now, maximum 5 players in S. So maybe he can move up. By the end of the list, we'll see. But I think Pepe should be the face of A. Like, this is like an amazing signing. I think you guys get what I mean. Like, Ramos was the guy, but Pepe was a crucial aspect to so many of their trophies as well. So he may go up. Let's see what happens. At the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Alvaro Morata. Now, this is when he came from Juve for 30 mil in 2016. So his second spell. Because obviously, you know, he started at Madrid. He was getting games here and there. He came back and lasted, I think, like 1 season. So I'm afraid this goes into the F tier. They brought him back thinking, all right, he's finally ready, mature to take on a role here. And obviously we know what happened with Chelsea and whatnot afterwards. So yeah, not a fantastic signing. Camavinga, I'm going to go with a B. He's going to be on the lower end of a B because, again, he's still there. So his career, we don't know how it's going to pan out, you know, in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Maybe he ends up leaving for more game time. I don't know. But when I've seen him in real life, he's both games really been the man of the match. I watched him against Braga at the Bernabeu a couple years back, and then the year before that I watched him at Anfield actually against Liverpool when Madrid won 5-2, I think it was. Camavinga was incredible, and I know sometimes he gets shifted to left back and maybe the guys argue is he at 6, is he at 8, whatever the case may be. Guys, he's fantastic wherever he plays. It's just unfortunate that he's not really been able to lock down a spot because, again, he's in a team full of total superstars. But unfortunately, a lot of his best spells for Madrid have been like as a impact sub or a super sub to come on and see out the game or make an impact. So, you know, a low B is fine. These next 3 names, I'm going to save us all time and chuck them all in the F tier. We've got Danilo, we've got Iyaramendi, and we've got Odriozola. Look, I don't rate right backs that highly anyway. But again, if you were here for a season or 2 seasons, listen, if you're a Madrid right back, I can't lie, you can be the weakest link and you're still going to win all the trophies. Like, I don't think Danilo was ever important for them winning anything. Likewise, Odriozola, he went to Bayern, did absolutely nothing there as well. So, like, as far as spending 30-something million, yes, I know you want trophies, I 100% get that, but you could have put me at right back in them same teams and we probably would have won the same stuff. Someone that was crucial, however, it's another signing from Liga NOS. Maybe the Portuguese league to Real Madrid pipeline is a good one because Angel Di Maria, this has to be an A. One of the most clutch players in their history, but also football history in general. Because listen, as much as like Ronaldo benefited from him at Real Madrid, without Di Maria, some would say Messi wouldn't have a World Cup either. Bear in mind, guys, this guy could play as like an electric winger, up and down. But also that year he started playing midfield and still won them and was probably one of the most crucial players. That to me, A. Next up, we go for their current gaffer, Xabi Alonso. I think everyone knows how cold he was, but maybe his best part of his career wasn't Madrid. I don't know if that's fair to say. I feel like a B's calm. Again, his era is not the most successful trophy-laden spell of Madrid over the last, 15, 20 years. But again, he done his thing. I don't think he's quite at that 80. The next thing we have is Nicolas Anelka, one of the most underrated strikers ever. But was it worth the move for Real Madrid? Again, this is one where he won the Champions League, right? He arrived from Arsenal in 99 for, again, 35 million. He won the Champions League, but obviously he didn't stay very long. And if you've watched his Netflix documentary, you know that he wasn't very keen on the Spanish media or the English media for that, to be fair. Based on how much talent he had when he was in the Premier League just before that, I think it has to be disappointing, guys. I would say calm, but knowing what Anelka went on to be, it has to be disappointing. I'll put him in the high level though, because maybe he can push towards the C. But so far, it's looking like there's quite a gap. Either Real Madrid sign incredible players who do fantastic, or they're disappointing. There's not really any in-between C players yet. Maybe we'll get some by the end, but for now, let's go into Robben. For me, I'm sorry to say, it's another one that, compared to what he ended up being and what we knew he was beforehand, it is a bit disappointing. He'll join his Dutch buddies because that era, it just never really worked. They tried to go the Netherlands route and yeah, it wasn't hitting for me. I'm not going to act like he was some superstar at Chelsea. I remember seeing him at Highbury. You're not going to think I'm trolling with these like games, by the way. I promise you. When I do like for those of us who remember, yeah, sometimes I'm trolling in it. But the games that I'm referencing, specific matches, I was actually there. And Robben done his thing at Highbury, 2005, November it was. And everyone could see, okay, there's a player in here, but maybe needs to be more consistent, better decision making. Real Madrid, again, he wasn't bad. He was okay, but he went there with the expectation that he's going to level up now. And I don't think he really leveled up until he went to Bayern afterwards, where, he developed the cut in and bang gene like every single week, unstoppable. So it's going to be disappointing from me. Up next, we have one of the original star boys, Novotel, Lyon, FIFA 08. If you know, you know. Ballon d'Or Benz. This one, look, it has to be an S tier, right? It has to be an S tier. I mean, he was there for what, 13 years or so, something like that, carrying in his last couple years. And people kind of sleep on his numbers because, yeah, Ronaldo was the main guy. And I do concede there were a couple years when Madrid fans were screaming, yo, get this guy out, what a bum, what a bum. But let's also not forget, guys, Real Madrid fans are some of the most spoilt fans in the universe. So when they're booing you, when they're doing this and they're doing that, take it with a pinch of salt. Up next, we have another potential S tier. Let's talk about Luka Modric. We mustn't forget, when he first arrived, they were doing those polls about the worst La Liga signing in history. And that take aged like milk, whilst Luka Modric aged like fine wine. I think it's only right that for someone to end up becoming in the convos about top 8 midfielders ever, definitely top 10 midfielders, I think that has to be an S tier signing because nobody was ever saying that at Spurs. Like, you could see he was talented, but again, he's baking off in some team that, their best achievements is getting like 5th place or something. So, big up Luka Modric. Again, he was also playing in that Anfield game. He got an assist for Benzema, where I thought, rah, this guy's touching like 40 and he's still doing that. Fair enough, man. Up next, Thibaut Courtois. This one is an A. Obviously for goalkeepers, it's hard to be on that like super ultimate like sensational tier if I'm keeping just 5 names maximum. But of course, look, Courtois has had the biggest moments in the biggest games, and I've said it on multiple times before. Some of you agreed with me, some of you said, what is this guy smoking? I don't consume any narcotics, I drink my water. I think he's better than Casillas. I know Casillas has like, you know, the World Cup and the Euros and like nostalgia. His career is like, you know, really incredible, but Courtois is better than him. Not only is he just taller, you know, better reflexes, better shot stopper, he's just a better goalkeeper overall. And I think he's been an amazing signing for Real Madrid. We then go a bit further back to 2003. One of the first ever Galacticos, David Beckham. I'm going to put him as the face of the B tier. And I'll tell you why. This was the era where Florentino Perez said, okay, you know what, guys? We're going to just get the best players from anywhere possible and try and just put them all together. Now, I know he didn't win as many trophies as the guys in the last, you know, 6-7 years that have been spamming Champions League nearly every year. But his impact on making Real Madrid, you know, they've always been massive, right? But in my opinion, that era of the 2000s cemented them as like, okay, there's quite a gap here between the super clubs of like Barca, United, and whatever names you want to pick, the Italian giants, and then Real Madrid, the Galacticos. The amount of revenue this guy generated, incredible. And as a footballer, I still think he gets underrated. Guys call him overrated and meaty because he ended up being, you know, a fashion icon and he's with posh spice and whatnot. But guys, David Beckham as a footballer was great. Anyone hating on David Beckham, you weren't there watching the sport. Kovacic up next. I think after parting the diagram like the Red Sea, we finally have our first C. He was calm. Didn't really expect much from him. Obviously, again, he's got the trophies there, I understand. But he was never like cold or important to Real Madrid like that. He was just a calm, steady signing, in my opinion. Again, anyway, you guys can disagree with me. That's absolutely fine. But we're going to move on to R9. Arguably the best striker to ever play in La Liga. Obviously, some will say his prime may have been Barca or Inter. But again, when you have a football icon like this, I know they were not bringing bare Champions Leagues and whatnot. But R9 as a footballer, playing for Real Madrid, he was still delivering numbers. He was still delivering iconic moments and making everyone happy. He cost 40 mil from Inter. I know it's a lot of money, but I'm going to put him below like Di Maria and Pepe. Just because, again, he wasn't bringing bare Champions Leagues, which guys are going to start arguing about trophies. The next name's actually Mastantuono, but I've decided that, you know, the summer signings in the last year or so, I'm going to save them till last and put them at the end so that we can rank where we think they'll be. Because obviously, I cannot tell you what Mastantuono has done yet. So we're going to go straight to Vinny Jr., who cost 40 million, came from Flamengo. This one is an A signing. I know the last year has been a bit shaky for him, but I think there have been campaigns where he's put Madrid on his back. And think about a few years ago when, you know, Benzema was saying, yo, mum's life is playing against us. How he's grown from there. I had stocks in him before that. Even when Benzema was saying that, I was telling guys, nah, trust me, he can work on this, bro. There's like, as you know, as someone that has won trophies as a player and as a coach, I can see when someone has the intangibles and certain attributes that I can work with. And he has gone from strength to strength. Obviously, again, like I said, last year is a bit of a stain on the legacy, but assuming that he stays for a couple more years as well, I think he's going to end up being comfortably in the A tier. Whether that be because of the goals in the finals or even just to get them to the finals, there have been times where he has put that team on his back. Rodrigo, look, again, this one is tough because so many of these guys are going to rack up so many trophies despite not being like extremely important. Now, Rodrigo has had his moments for Madrid, certainly. You know, you can think of City and other, you know, long-range goals he's scored. So I'm going to put him in the B tier because, look, for a Brazilian winger, his numbers are not fantastic. And as much as I hate to be a numbers guy, they are also kind of important. He's still yet to really lock in a starting place at Real Madrid. I think a low end of B is fair. Endrick at 45 mils next up. Again, because he's been there 1 year, I'm going to leave him till last for the final 4 names. And we're going to go straight on to, instead, Ferland Mendy. I think Kovacic now has a mate. Because for as cold as his 82 card is on FIFA, in real life, he fluctuates, man. There are some years where I think, yo, people that think he's overrated because he's good on FIFA, you're not getting it. He's actually good in real life. But then other seasons, I'm like, do you know what? maybe he's a bit overhyped. He's a strange one. It's kind of up and down with him. I don't know. Again, some of you Real Madrid fans, if you're watching, let me know. Don't call me like an idiot or a clown or zero. Just say, yo, decent list, but I think this guy could move up one or down one. Just be polite. Carreras would have been next, but again, saving him for the last 4. So we go to Eder Militao, and he's going to be going in that same B tier. Injuries have been unfortunate to him, of course. He's had some crucial moments for Real Madrid. Hopefully, for their sake, this season, he's back fit. I saw him score a goal from like 75 yards. Now the price tags jump up to like 55 M's, and we start to see indications of the madness of Florentino Perez, because we have Luis Figo. This one, in terms of how symbolic it was, it has to rank high already. Like, to take your most fierce rivals, maybe best player, arguably best player. Obviously, again, this brother is a Ballon d'Or winner, let's not forget. To take them and snatch them and then go and start winning trophies as well, yeah, that's an A-tier signing to me. He had that early Champions League, and then, he started having a period where Madrid struggled for trophies, but him as an individual was incredible, and it kind of started making El Clasico more of like a global phenomenon where, look, of course, they've always had their rivalries from way back in the day. But in terms of, when guys in England and other countries started watching, it would be those early 2000s, mid 2000s where they start putting it on Sky Sports, and like you're thinking, okay, we want to lock in now to see how the Barca fans treat him. Are they going to launch more pigs' heads at him? What's going to happen? The next one is easy. Luka Jovic, goodness gracious. This is a flop of the highest order, man. I still can't believe 60 million, by the way. Eintracht Frankfurt, we got to investigate these, man. A lot of their players, they be selling these strikers, and you forget where they are like 2 years later. So big up them for getting so much money. We go to Kaka. I don't think I have it in me to put him in the F tier. I don't. Injuries were tough. When he played, was he that bad? I'd like to put him in the disappointing tier. I think he disappointed. Given, again, this is a Ballon d'Or winner, Milan's best player at that time. You're thinking, all right, this is a statement signing for Madrid to go and patent La Decima. Didn't really happen. Now, James Rodriguez. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is the toughest one for me. I don't know where to put him. He could go anywhere, to be honest with you, because, bro, 2014, yeah, the excitement guys had after that World Cup. He scored that volley. Everyone say, oh, James Rodriguez, Colombia's finest and whatnot. Did he ever live up to that height at Real Madrid? No, he didn't. Obviously, we know he went to Bayern and whatnot afterwards. But he did have really important seasons as well, where he had a massive impact. So, Madrid fans, again, please don't shout at me. Just hear me out. Try to understand my reasoning for this. I have to go low B, I think. This one should be really easy, though. Very straightforward. We have Zizu, Zinedine Zidane. Even if it's not prime Zidane from the Juve times, that Champions League final goal alone, it's enough. It's enough. I troll, but obviously, look, he had more years there, and he went on to be manager. I know it's technically not part of it, but had he not played for Madrid for these years, he would not have been the manager to go and win that many Champions Leagues in a row. Everything encompassing, yeah, to be fair, Zidane probably has to go above Benzema even as well. For an all-encompassing Madrid legend, 70 mil in 2001. Think of, bro, 70 mil now is still quite a lot. Is it? It gets you guys like Ollie Watkins and Sesko and that, so maybe not. But just hear me out. 2001, 70 mil was like completely unheard of. So I think he lived up to it in the end. Again, they didn't spam bare Champions Leagues as a player, but it's not always about that. We get to our top 5. Tchouaméni, I'm going to put next to his mate Camavinga. I think they have similar stories, if you will, whereby we know how good they are. They're very talented, but sometimes they're just used as like versatile players that can, for example, like I said, Camavinga can play left back, Tchouaméni can play centre back. Sometimes they're riddled with injuries. It's a tough one. But beyond good, we have, I think, the undisputed number 1 on the S tier, which means that table is now full because number 1 is taken by Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, look, what is there to be said about this guy that hasn't already been said? His numbers are ridiculous. The trophies are ridiculous. As a footballer, he was sensational. From the moment he arrived at Madrid with that number 9 on his back, CR9, he was moving crazy, bro. Like, the reason they've got so many Champions Leagues is because they were spamming them when the Champions League first began in the 1950s. For those of us who remember, when they had Di Stefano and Puskas, and many people sleep on this guy, but Paco Gento as well, as part of that trio, was incredible. But you guys won't know about that. So Ronaldo has to be number 1. Again, you see the 5 on the image. Bare Champions Leagues. He is their best player ever. He has become Mr. Real Madrid from Di Stefano and even like guys like Raul and whatnot. Gareth Bale for me, he's doing the heart celebration, so I'll put him next to the mate Di Maria. Maybe people prefer Di Maria as Madrid fans, but because of the Gulf and Wales thing. But in terms of like big games and impacts, they're on a they're neck and neck. Do you know what? I'll let Di Maria go slightly ahead. But Gareth Bale, the overhead kicks and the long shots and everything encompassed. I know he didn't love it there and they hated how he left, so I guess I'll put him down a little bit for that. What was it, like 90 mil them times, 85 mil? I think they got their money's worth, despite him not being super consistent in the league. But when you spend 100 million on somebody, like Madrid did for Eden Hazard, this becomes the face of the F tier. This, wow. One of the best players in Chelsea's history goes to Madrid, 100 mil, is excited to finally start winning Champions Leagues and whatnot. And look, again, he got a Champions League, but let's be serious, this was terrible. I remember his interview when, I think, was it on the parade for the Champions League? Or the league title, one of the two, where he's there with the mic and the glasses saying, yeah, all the Madrid fans, remember this, next year, I'm going to be back. Yeah, he wasn't back. He wasn't back. But, legend of the game, listen, I like Eden Hazard, it's just, let's be serious, that is an F tier signing. And to the last name on the list, we have Jude Bellingham. Still somewhat early days, right? It's been 2 seasons. But I think, I don't know if you guys will agree with me, he's done enough to be in that B tier. And I'm talking like around here. Because he has carried them at times. Not just been a really good player for them. And again, I'm kind of using a bit of future predictions too. I think he will be there for another 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And therefore, be comfortably on the B tier. If not, pushing in the A tier to go past Vinny. Now, Vinny, I don't know if you guys agree with me. He's looking a bit lost in that tier. I can't lie to you. He might have to drop down a little bit. Maybe. But real quick, we got 4 names to add where we think, I guess, they're going to end up being. So, you know, let's do this now. Masantuono, I don't know a lot about him. So if it's alright with you guys, I'm just going to go with, yeah, it'll be calm. You know, decent signing. Dean Huijsen, we've seen already, Club World Cup, fantastic player. I'm going to put him above Militao, but I'll put him in at the end of the tier so that you guys know, you know, these are just the new signings to be added. They're not actually being ranked. Endrick has had 1 year. I think he was underrated in that year, to be fair. The little minutes he had, I think he delivered. So I think he'll also go in that B tier for me. Again, please bear in mind, these new players aren't part of the list. They're just how I project them to be by the end of their careers. And this Carreras brother, I ain't got a clue about him, but someone has to flop in it. So I'll put him in a D tier. There you go. That is my list. Let me know what you think. I'm sure many of you will have many changes to make, but be polite about them. This is not TikTok where we're here to rage bait and shout and whatnot. Have a nice polite conversation. We will be having 2 videos today because tonight football really kicks off. We had the International Supercopa de Anglais. Now we have the International Supercopa de Europa. PSG versus Spurs. So I'll see you tonight. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, do the usual stuff, and I'll catch you man at midnight in a bit. Bosh.